And now we are live.
Wow.
So, hello, Maria. It's really, really nice to be live here with you. Thank you for joining us. We've just dragged ourselves off the beach to come in. Yeah, so we've got beach hair.
Beach hair, beach, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but we have been very blessed with this beautiful weather all summer, haven't we?
So that's again.
I said we've been blessed with really beautiful weather all this summer, haven't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So it's really funny because I don't feel any different now that we're live.
Yes. When you before it started, you have to kind of remind yourself that we're now live. So everything you say can be heard by others.
Can be used in evidence.
Yes.
So Maria, you're going to come along and speak at our conference that we're having in September. And for us personally, the aim of this conference, the aim that we've got is to make North Devon the most mentally healthy place to live and work. So we're spreading this understanding. You know, we're going to have a lot of local people in the audience, I certainly hope anyway. I mean, people can come far and wide, because I would love people to take this understanding to wherever they are from. Yes. But certainly, you know, we live in North Devon, so it's very personal to us to do this. So we've invited some amazing people to come and speak, and you are one of them.
Yes.
So we would love to hear a little bit about you and what people, you know, might hear if they come to the conference, what sort of things you might be sharing.
All right, okay. So, well, I'm Maria. I think, I don't know what people would want to know, really. We've been around the principles for a few years now, probably about 4 or 5 years. And it's one of those things that you don't realise is going to have such a huge impact on you at the time. You know, when you look back and see how much of a difference something's made in your life, you never really anticipate that anybody is going to make something is going to make such a huge difference in your life, and something that you just happen to come across makes such a significant change in your life and transforms the way that you work with people, and does so in such a way that it kind of creeps up on you. It's this understanding happens, something gets triggered in your mind that changes your whole life, changes the whole way that you think about things without you having to do anything, and then somehow manages to infiltrate itself into your work. And then you start having conversations with people like you've never had before, and it's changing people's lives in such an easy way. And it's you. If somebody had said to me before I went to my very first principals conference, "This is going to change your life forever," you know, I'd have kind of gone, yeah, you know, I don't think so. You know, I've done a lot of learning, I've done a lot of developing over the years, I've trained in all sorts of different things. And yeah, my life has changed over the years, but it's been a little gradual thing, a change here, a change there, a shift here, a shift there. But then this comes along into your life, and it's like everything gets thrown up in the air and comes back down again, but all the pieces have fallen into place. It's like if you've got a jigsaw in a box, it would be almost like throw the jigsaw up in the air, and when it lands, it's all completed. It's all perfectly okay. So I don't know where that metaphor came from. It just came from me literally just right this second. But it's like everything changes in a way that you can't imagine it will change, but it does, and you don't quite know how or why it's done it that way. It's just that you know it's the understanding that has made the difference. So what happened for me is I've been a coach I've been self-employed as a coach for 9 years, but before that I'd been coaching as a manager in an organisation for donkey's years, and what happened is, although I've done lots of learning and lots of developing and lots of training and highly qualified and all that kind of thing, what happened is this understanding, as it changed my life And as I more and more got a deeper understanding of the simplicity of it all, somehow it started getting into my coaching conversations and getting into the work that that I was doing. And then we started having opportunities to just talk to people about this understanding, because it stopped making sense talking to them in the way that I used to talk to them. And so without a plan and without meaning to change the way that I work with people, I started working with people differently. And as a result of that, what happened was that people all of a sudden were reporting huge transformations very, very quickly, very, very fast. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to have conversations with people to say, we've spent 2.5 days with them, and they say, this has changed my life forever. And then you see them a few months later and you barely recognize them because they look so different. And then they say, you know, I told you it changed my life forever, and it has. And not only in the work that we do, not only does it help people in the workplace, but we get people reporting it saved their marriages. Their children are doing so much better at school because of something, the way that they talk to them is different because their understanding is different. So it's their whole life changes, not just their working life experience. So that's kind of what happened, and how I come to be sort of sharing the principles in organisations and personally, but not always. The thing about the principles, don't always actually necessarily talk about the principles in and of themselves. It's like you just end up having conversations with people that it comes from that understanding and helps people to see those principles without the principles themselves being a thing. I mean, one of the things we love saying to the people that we work with, there are a number of things. We say things like, you haven't got to learn anything. You haven't got to memorize anything. You haven't got to decide on, get a technique to apply it. Things are just going to change. And people find that really hard to get their heads around when we're first working with them. We say, look, you're telling us all this stuff, but we don't have to learn it, and we don't have to practice it, and we don't have to do anything with it. We don't even have to remember it. We're going, yeah, that's true. And then the other thing we say to them is, and you don't have to believe a word we say. You don't have to listen to anything that we say, because what we want you to do is we want you to listen to what your wisdom is telling you, because we know it's in there and we know it's got all the answers that you'll ever need. So, we often get people saying, well, how do we do this and how do we do that? And they say, well, we're not going to answer that question because we don't know how you will deal with that or how you will do that, but you will know. So we have these amazing conversations with people where we just share what we know to be true for ourselves and the understanding that we have, pretty much always in a business context, and get people to basically realize who they really are underneath all of this stuff that they've got going on in their heads that prevents them from having clarity, from having grace, from having ease, from just life being a whole lot easier than it often is for people in the corporate world.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely amazing. And like when you were talking, what was coming to my mind was, it's quite a big thing when we're saying, our aim is to make North Devon the most mentally healthy place to live and work. That feels like a big ask. It feels like you will need all sorts of things, something to help this and something to help this and something for this. And, what you absolutely said it beautifully. No, this one understanding, wherever you come at it, whether you come at it because you're struggling as a parent, whether you're struggling in a relationship, whether you come at it because you want to be more efficient at work, wherever you come to this understanding, all boats rise with this tide.
Yes.
You hear this across the board. You'll notice, if you come at it because there's something you want to improve productivity within your business, you find that you're a better parent, you find that your relationships improve. If you come at it because you're struggling in a relationship, you find your productivity at work improves.
Everything changes. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
My lovely friend Judith is watching. Hello, Judith.
So that is the thing
was
that's amazing, and actually how easy it is for people. Yeah. And like when we're first working with people, it's like they really, it's a hard thing for them to get their heads around. But what's really fascinating, just in the short time that we spend with them to start off with, is how much you can see the changes happening from day 1 to day 2 to day 3. And the difference in them. So they come in on day 1 and their fingers are tapping and their knees are twitching and their feet are tapping, and you can see them sneakily trying to look at the phones and they say to us so many times, they'll say to us, "Oh my God, I thought I was going to die on day 1. It was so sad." But even though they've been pre-warned about that, but then you see them towards the end of day 1, and then certainly day 2, they've really relaxed, and then the wisdom starts to shine through, and people start sharing their insights. Just what's happened overnight often is amazing. What we hear people saying just overnight, and they can see how quickly and how already it's made a difference to them, even overnight.
We've watched people. We do meetups fairly regularly and have people come. And sometimes, at the beginning of the meetup, people can be fidgety. And we've watched people, like you say, with tapping their feet and kind of like, and doing this, and then exactly the same. And watch. And sometimes they don't even know what it is you said. And what I loved when you said the hardest thing about this, the hardest thing to get your head around is how easy it is. I love that. So that's amazing. That's brilliant. Thank you. I think that is great. So unless there's anything else you want to share, I think we will get this video up there. I think that's perfect. A really lovely introduction to what people are going to gain from, because the conference is for 3 days, and you've been talking about working with people for 2 or 3 days. And that is enough to change their life forever.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. That's
really looking forward to coming down. Really looking forward to meeting you guys, and also the other speakers. We know some of the other speakers. They're just amazing. So even just to listen to some of those, that's going to be fantastic for us as well. So really looking forward to spending the time down there with you guys. So,
we are really looking forward to it too. So thank you. Have you got anything that you want to add?
No, I haven't actually. It was just beautiful. Thank you.
It was really beautiful. Thank you very, very much. And we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Okay, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.